There's a place in the Atlantic Ocean, a stretch of water where ships vanish without a trace, planes disappear from the sky, and all logic seems to drown beneath the waves. They call it the Bermuda Triangle. Somewhere between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, this infamous patch of sea holds one of Earth's greatest and most chilling enigmas. For decades, it has fueled our darkest fears and wildest imaginations. But of all the stories whispered in its name, one stands out, a mystery that took flight and never came home. December 5th, 1945. It's a crisp, clear afternoon at the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The war is over, and a sense of routine has settled in. 5 Navy Avenger torpedo bombers, collectively known as Flight 19, are being prepped on the tarmac. 14 airmen, a mix of seasoned instructors and trainees, exchange jokes and go through their final checks. Their mission today is routine navigation practice, a simple triangular flight path known as Navigation Problem Number 1. It was supposed to be a straightforward 3-hour flight over calm, familiar waters. They expected to be back on base in time for dinner. But dinner would never be served for the men of Flight 19. They were about to fly directly into the heart of a legend. The first leg of their journey went exactly as planned. But as the 5 bombers turned north toward the second checkpoint near the Bahamas, something went terribly wrong. The sky, once clear, began to darken with an unnerving speed. The lead pilot, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, a veteran with over 2,500 flight hours, suddenly sounded confused over the radio. His voice, crackling with static, reported that both of his compasses were malfunctioning. "I don't know where we are," he transmitted. "We must have gotten lost after that last turn." Another pilot from the flight chimed in, his own voice laced with anxiety. "We can't find west. Everything looks wrong. Even the ocean doesn't look as it should." On the ground, the control tower operators listened in growing horror as the pilots' transmissions became more frantic and disoriented. They were flying blind, lost in a sky that had turned against them. As darkness fell, a massive search and rescue operation was launched. Hundreds of ships and planes were scrambled, ordered to comb every square mile of the ocean where Flight 19 was thought to be. Among them was a PBM Mariner flying boat, a massive aircraft known as the Flying Gas Tank, carrying a crew of 13. It took off into the stormy night, determined to find the missing bombers. But then, silence. Just 20 minutes after takeoff, the Mariner rescue plane also vanished from radar. There was no distress call, no wreckage, no oil slick, nothing. It was as if the sky had simply swallowed it whole. Over the next 5 days, one of the largest air and sea searches in history scoured 250,000 square miles. They found nothing. Not a single piece of debris, not a life raft, not a trace of the 27 men who had disappeared. For over 75 years, the fate of Flight 19 and the Mariner search plane has remained one of the most perplexing mysteries of the 20th century. What happened out there in the Triangle? Theories have swirled like the storms that frequent the region. Skeptics point to human error and bad weather. Lieutenant Taylor, despite his experience, was new to the area and may have become disoriented, leading his entire flight astray into a sudden, violent storm. But others argue that something far more unusual was at play. Could it be a rare geomagnetic anomaly? A hole in the sky that disrupts navigation and sends instruments spinning wildly? Some have even whispered of more fantastic explanations: time warps, underwater energy fields, or even extraterrestrial abduction. No wreckage was ever conclusively identified. No black boxes were ever recovered. There are only questions, echoing across the decades. More than 3/4 of a century later, the Bermuda Triangle still holds its secrets close. The ocean has a way of keeping what it takes. And somewhere, out there in the vast, endless blue, beneath the silent waves and shifting currents, the mystery of Flight 19 endures. Perhaps, as some legends say, they are still flying, forever lost in time, on a course into the great unknown. What do you think happened? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy exploring the world's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.